Has the CD-ROM finally come of age? Well, the answer to that question will be yes, if Atari has anything to say about it. For after years of hype and hoopla about CD-ROMs, Atari is now set to ship this CD-ROM drive, which not only will read data into your computer, but will also play the music off your compact disc, and all this for under $600. Today, we'll let you know what's new in CD-ROMs and optical storage technology on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by CompuServe, featuring an online reference library, Wall Street reports, at-home shopping, airline reservations, games, and hundreds of other services. CompuServe, helping people get the most from computers. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and this is Gary Kildall. And Gary, since you don't know very much about CD-ROMs, you had to get some help from a guy named Chris Bowman, one of your associates at KnowledgeSet. Gary, I know you are very excited, in fact, know quite a bit about CD-ROM technology. Why do you get so excited about this one?
Well, I think, Stuart, the thing that's really interesting is it's a brand new medium for publishing, basically what you get. It's based upon exactly the same technology as CD audio, and you have an advantage that it's read-only. And that's sometimes people say that's a disadvantage, but since it's a read-only device, it makes it a very, very good publishing medium. You can replace microfilm, for example. And it's very high capacity. This particular disc is one that we did for, well, in a project for the Boeing 757. So it's an entire set of maintenance manuals for the 757. That's 12,000 pages, 4,000 drawings. I think it's 140 pounds of paper, something like that. And the advantage is that you have it all in one disc rather than a whole bookshelf full of things or 5 rolls of microfilm. And you can access it very quickly, and we got somebody here that's going to show us how to do it.
Okay, if you'll close the drawer, we'll take off. The first thing the user sees is a bookshelf indicating which databases are on the disk. We click on the Load Manual indicator, and it will come up to the first screen, which tells us which manual we got. And now the first screen we actually will be able to use is the table of contents of the database. And this is the table of contents for the Boeing 757 manual. As Gary said, we can scroll down there and look for the section we're looking for. We pick out a section. Let's take the wing section. And each of those identifiers is linked through hypertext to the next level down. We are now in the table of contents for the wings chapter. We click on the first section that we want to go to, and we go to the next level, and now we are actually in the maintenance manual for the wing section. And we can scroll through that data. You'll notice that the figure references are highlighted, indicating that they are linked through hypertext to the figure itself. And if I move over to that figure and click on it, we will go to the drawing itself. And once that figure comes up, we can move around in the drawing. We can move that bar up so that we can look at a different section of the drawing, and we can point to a section and click, and we will zoom in for a tighter shot on that, and we can zoom in another level. Now we've set these levels arbitrarily. We could zoom in even more tightly if we wanted to. Now if we hit the F2 key, we will split the screen between text and graphics horizontally, and if we hit it again, we will split it vertically so that we could then go in and we can click and scroll up and down while we're looking at the text and the graphics. I could zoom in and out on the graphics too. Let's go back to that then, Gary. The other ways to access data are through a full text search, and if we were looking for a specific word or a combination of words, we could input that word or those words, and it would search the entire database for those words. The last thing I want to show you is a way to actually, if you know exactly where you're going in the database, you just put in the chapter, section, and paragraph, and it will take you immediately to the database, to the section.
Yeah, so the real advantage here is that you have all this stuff on one disk instead of having on rolls and rolls of microfilm, so it's really easy to access. But what's happening now is that the aerospace industry, airplanes in particular, are very, very complex, and in order to even maintain them nowadays, you have to have that stuff in electronic form. It's just too hard to do otherwise.
Okay, Gary, today we're going to take a look not only at CD-ROM technology, but the whole range of optical storage technology. We begin with a visit to San Francisco General Hospital, where they're using CD-ROMs in their poison control center.
In a small room at San Francisco General Hospital, the Poison Information Center has found a new way to deal with its daily flood of frantic phone calls. The center staff now uses a poison information database on compact disc called PoisonDex, and it has made a big difference in the daily routine.
The big advantage to us, and the reason that we went to it, was efficiency. The calls that we get are in most cases urgent and in many cases emergency type calls in which the information required we need to find immediately within a few minutes so that we can give information to calling physicians or to parents from home.
Along with speed of access and simple interface, PoisonDex offers a much greater depth of information about a toxic substance, including its degree of toxicity, the antidote, and symptoms. Staff members can begin a search with a brand name, generic type, or group. Even the code on a tablet or capsule is enough to track down its composition. The system responds with a breakdown of ingredients and the proper treatment. Before the CD system was installed, the staff had to rely on binders filled with about 200 microfiche cards, which are still on hand in case of a system failure. The Poison Center's dedicated staff handles over 50,000 calls per year, sometimes of a life-threatening nature. The CD-ROM library makes their job easier, faster, and perhaps just a little less stressful.
Joining us in the studio now is Bruce Phillips of Microsoft. They're the makers of Bookshelf. And next to Bruce is Steve Michael, West Coast editor for the magazine CD-ROM Review. And joining us now for the rest of the show in Gary's place is George Morrow.
Steve, CD-ROM Review is about the first publication to address the interaction of PCs and the CD-ROMs. How old is it, and who do you focus on for
The first of the regular issues started coming out last March, and we're bi-monthly. We're going to go monthly early this year. We're focusing on people that are publishing data on CD-ROM, developing products to use with it. Also, the interested public, too.
Not too many end users yet, though.
Not yet.
Steve, we've heard so much about CD-ROM for a couple of years now, and it seems like a market waiting to happen. Is it about to happen now with things like Bookshelf?
Little by little, it's going to happen. We're right on the verge of it happening, I think.
What else does it have to take for it to really happen now?
We need a couple more good horizontal products out there, like Bookshelf.
Like what? What other kinds of software products would do it?
Some more encyclopedias, maybe a little bit better encyclopedias. Some more applications that demonstrate the interactive capabilities of the CD-ROM. Some
maybe a little more aggressive pricing?
A little bit more aggressive pricing wouldn't hurt.
Okay, Bookshelf is the first really major horizontal application, Bruce, and show us a little bit about what your setup is here and how Bookshelf works.
Okay, well, Bookshelf works with a CD-ROM drive. Here we have an Amdec laser drive, and it works with any IBM type computer, compatible computer. And essentially it just requires one CD disc. It's just the same as an audio disc, and it fits in the player, and the player really is pretty much like an audio player. This one actually will play audio disc as well. And the way Bookshelf works is it works with your word processor. It can work in standalone mode too for those people who want to use it for pure research. And in this particular example, what we have is a letter in a word processor. Bookshelf operates as a memory resident utility that has access to the 10 reference works that are on that disk. The reference works are briefly our thesaurus, a dictionary, spelling checker, a usage alert, Chicago Manual of Style, almanac, Bartlett's quotations, business information sources, U.S. zip code directory, and a package of forms and letters. A good example of how Bookshelf works is in this particular letter, we didn't have a zip code for this particular address. Now the zip code normally comes in a 2-volume set, and it's kind of laborious to work through. With Bookshelf, you call it up in 2 keystrokes. Another keystroke or use of the mouse will pull it right off the letter, so you don't have to type anything in. It takes about 3 seconds to find the zip code. One more keystroke, it's in your letter, you're out of Bookshelf, you're back focused on what you originally wanted to do, and that's the key. You don't have to spend a lot of time or wandering around picking up books off your shelf to use Bookshelf. It keeps you focused on what was really the most important thing for you to be doing right now, this document.
Okay, show us another example of a book you might refer to, Bruce.
Okay, well, let's use the dictionary. Now, the difference between Bookshelf and what you normally can get with some word processors is this is the full text dictionary. This is the American Heritage Dictionary. It's the text that you could buy in a large volume.
So it's not just a spelling checker.
That's right. And
That's
you,
right.
You really missed that with an online.
Right. We didn't abbreviate. There's nothing abbreviated in the definitions. In this particular case, here's a word that I know you both use on the show a lot, occultation. I certainly use it all the time. You might want to check to see if you're really using it correctly. You may not even really know what it means. Again, call Bookshelf up very quickly, call a search, and it takes a few seconds, and it gets us right to the full text definition. And as pointed out before, the document's your focus. So we haven't lost that. We can go back and forth between it to double check. I could paste this into your document, and it would reformat it.
Now, the colors here are supposed to be something with different kind of print in the dictionary?
Right. In the dictionary itself, you'd see italics and boldface and things.
And the colors here take that place?
These colors take that place because Bookshelf is a character-based application.
That's a good idea.
And so we couldn't do italics and boldface on a monochrome system, for instance. If we had based it for this EGA-type system, we could have done that. And you're out of it.
And right back in your document.
And you're back in your document. It's that simple. Yeah. It's the biggest product Microsoft sells in terms of data, 200 megabytes of data, but it's also the lightest. No floppy disk.
Yeah.
It's just everything is on that one disk that you see here.
Bruce, Steve, thank you very much. In just a minute, we're going to take a look at a CD-ROM dictionary complete with pictures and sounds. So stay with us. Joining us now in the studio is Carolyn Kuhn, president of Software Mart of Austin, Texas, and back with us Steve Michael of CD-ROM Magazine. George.
Carolyn, I see we have a Mac here. Is this any way, your software is any way restricted to that environment?
No, it isn't. Today I'll be showing you an interactive multimedia application of CD-ROM that we've developed using Media Mixer, which is transportable. We actually have versions of the same product in development right now on the Macintosh, MS-DOS under Windows, and the Atari 68,000 based machines, as well as the Apple IIe family.
So you're ready for any eventuality on hardware?
We're ready across the board.
Carolyn, what is the Visual Dictionary? Now explain this product.
The Visual Dictionary is a language instruction tool that is being developed by our firm for two publishers of the book, which is in bilingual and single language editions. The publishers are Fax on File and Éditions Québec Amérique in Canada. And they've worked together to create book praise products that now we are developing a value-enhanced CD-ROM version. We've added audio pronunciation to all of the content, images, and text in the print editions.
Could you show us how the Visual Dictionary
Yes, I'd be
works?
happy to. At the main menu screen, a user can pick different capabilities to access and search the database. As you can see, we're under all themes, so we'll search the entire database. The text language or native language we've selected is English, and the translate language is French, and we'll actually see both languages. We'll see English and French for all terms. I've also selected that we'll see terms on the screen, and they'll also be spoken with real digitized voice, not computer synthesized speech. The usual way to start is to, in fact, search by picture. This opens a picture list that a user can then scroll down and access a picture either by opening using the Open button, or you could also print out pictures from this screen. By accessing Open, we actually are pulling this picture off of the CD-ROM drive, where it's stored on the CD-ROM disk with audio term pronunciation.
Spores.
To access terms, we simply point the mouse towards the term, and it will pull up the pronunciation in the languages we've selected.
Carolyn, could something like hypertext be used in conjunction with this so teachers could develop supplementary material in language classes?
We have built in a feature in this application, which is actually under Place, called Mark Place, which enables teachers to create their own custom tours of material on the disk, both audio and images and
so you
text.
don't need hypertext, you have it built in?
We have levels of hypertext, yes, built in. We've also created a drill and practice module, which enables us to, in fact, go ahead and link any pictures from the database and audio terms to their own computer game-like drill and practice sessions.
Steve, what do you think of this product?
What I like about this product is the way it combines the graphics and the text and the sound, illustrating all the potential of CD-ROM. If you've got a lot of room on a disk, you can put a lot of different types of information on it.
It looks like a very interesting vertical application in the schools.
What is the market for this product?
The publishers are aiming this product at teaching foreign language and English as a second language in schools, university level as well as secondary schools. We think it may also have quite a demand in the consumer market and for certain multinational applications where custom dictionaries of terminology might be of interest in vertical market.
But you don't see it replacing the language teacher, you see it making her more productive.
No, we see this as supplementary material that gives them a large database of quality assured pronunciation and voice inflection rather than simply audio cassettes or relying on a local teacher.
So it saves her voice a lot, yet it gives the right information.
Absolutely.
Steve, from a consumer's point of view now, should somebody go out and buy a CD-ROM drive now? Does it make sense?
When there's something like this and a couple of applications like this around, I would say it'd be really exciting to have for your kids at home to play with or something.
Well, certainly for organizations that have to do language training that are multinational, why this makes a lot of sense.
What's the price point, real quickly, on this?
The final pricing has not been determined. We expect it, however, to be sold in language pairs. The production version will have Spanish, French, and English, with over 5,000 terms in each language on the disc and illustrations. We expect it to be under $1,000 for all 3 languages.
Great. Carol and Steve, thank you very much. CD-ROM technology is, of course, only one approach to optical storage technology. Many others, one of them CDI, Compact Disc Interactive, has lots of developers excited, and Wendy Woods has a report on one such development.
You're in electronic arts, and your mission is to find information on the sudden kidnapping of the CDI team. You wander through the empty elevators and corridors looking for clues. This game is a simulation of what CDI, or Compact Disc Interactive, is supposed to do. Using a trackball as a pointing device, you move among real video images, not just computer animation, and hear real stereo digital sound.
Since the beginning of Electronic Arts, we've been looking forward to the time when we can deliver interactive experiences that combine very high-quality audiovisual media. So, for example, the television quality graphics, digital audio, the quality of compact discs, along with high-performance interactive computing systems. You add all that up, and that adds up to quite an exciting experience for the consumer. And we feel that CDI is the first piece of hardware to combine all those attributes into a single player.
The CDI player won't look anything like the hardware used in this simulation. It'll be a small box that'll hook up to your TV set. While this technology is still in its infancy, CDI players are expected to become major consumer products by late 1989, with manufacturers projecting sales in the tens of millions of units. And Electronic Arts is planning to become the leading provider of games and other software for this new medium. In San Mateo, California, for the Computer Chronicles, I'm Wendy Woods.
With us in the studio now is Timothy Green, president of Enhance Systems of Dedham, Massachusetts. And next to Timothy is Barry Braden, Western Area Sales Manager of Enhance. George.
Enhance uses optical storage devices called worms. Tim, is that right?
Correct.
What does worm mean?
Means write once, read mostly.
I see.
However, we prefer to look at these as writable optical drives. Enhance started 4 years ago recognizing the need of people to store a large amount of data, yet there was no cost-effective way of doing so.
And that's your cartridge there?
Absolutely. This cartridge has a capacity of 240 megabytes on a removable compact disc, soon to be available with over 1 gigabyte of capacity.
Great. And that's pretty durable?
Absolutely. You wouldn't want to do that with your hard disk or floppy or Bernoulli cartridge. I'll just slide it into the optical drive there, and that will effectively become your drive D. I have a quick program here that's going to show us a directory on the optical drive. As soon as it initiates the cartridge, we will go through this directory. You'll see that we have files and subdirectories just as we would on any other hard disk.
So it's to the user just like another hard drive here.
Absolutely.
Except, Stuart, it looks like it breaks the 32 megabyte barrier. Is that true?
Correct. You can selectively set the partition size as the application you use needs.
And you people take care of that. I don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
Great.
What I've shown here is the check disk to show the 120 megabytes capacity per side of the cartridge. What I'm going to do now is copy some files from the hard disk to the optical disk to demonstrate the speed of the copy routine. And as you see, it uses a standard DOS copy command.
When it's doing that, Tim, it is using up space on the disk.
Correct.
And I can't use that space anymore once I've done that.
No, you can't.
Barry, before Tim continues here, who are the people who are using these kinds of things? Now, who needs this kind of massive storage capacity?
Well, many of our customers are collecting large amounts of data, handling data acquisition. They take data from the bottom of the sea, and they use the rugged optical disc instead of the magnetic discs out in the salt water, because the optical disc is something that will be around for a long time. Other ways is storing large amounts of text. Lawyers use it for litigation support, to put their depositions and their pleadings all on the optical disc, and they have a fast, efficient way, instead of thumbing through all that paper, to get to that information that they're looking for.
Typically, what kind of input devices do they use to get all that text onto the optical disc?
Well, some people use a video camera, like we're showing on an image here. Some people use desktop scanners, which are becoming fairly popular.
So bitmap scanning, generally?
Yes.
And the disc with its space makes that quite easy to do, doesn't it?
Yes, because bitmap graphics take up a lot of space,
Tim,
as we all know.
what's the application you have here?
We're looking at an employee ID system. However, this could very easily be a signature verification system or anything else which combines images with database. Each image here is taking up about 120K of memory, and as you can see with this type of application, you're going to quickly use up a lot of capacity.
Now, if I were going to put one of these on my own system, let's say something like a compact or one of the other machines, how much would it cost me currently to do that?
Currently, the price is $1,599 for an internal system, as you see here.
What about erasable drives? I mean, how important is that? What more market would that open up now? I mean, that seems to be the next layer of technology here, not only to be able to write, but to erase. Is that important to you?
Well, I think we've been all been waiting for erasable technology to arrive for quite some time. I think that a writable optical disc addresses a specific market niche where the need to retain information is critical for either a professional or a legal reason, whereas erasable optical will tend to be more competitive with magnetic disk drives.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have thought of the write-once optical as being a transition product, but the longer we wait for the read-write optical, the more permanent this type of device appears to be.
Absolutely. We will shortly be introducing this drive on the Sun Microsystem computer and the Apple Mac, and later this year you'll start seeing jute boxes that will handle 5 1/4-inch disc cartridges.
Jute boxes, that is where you have a piece of mechanism?
You have a stackable mechanism, the ability to store basically over 100 gigabytes of information, which is readily accessible by mini or microcomputer.
Typically, on one of those jute boxes, how long would it take to change a cartridge?
Generally about 5 to 7 seconds.
Not bad.
Tim, Barry, thank you very much. It's pretty impressive. That's our look at optical storage technology. Hope we'll see you again next week here on the Computer Chronicles. In the Random Access file this week, Hewlett-Packard has finally answered the Apple look and feel lawsuit, and HP not only denied any copyright infringement, it countersued Apple, claiming that the Apple copyrights are invalid. HP also charged Apple with unfair business practices and antitrust violations. The HP countersuit says Apple's Mac interface copyrights are invalid because Apple misrepresented them to the Copyright Office as being original. The Windows and Icon interface was originally developed at Xerox PARC. Lotus has finally released Agenda, the PC answer to HyperCard. It's billed as a personal information manager. Early reviews are mixed, some saying it will fall flat on its face, others saying it's new, different, and exciting. The version of Agenda which is shipping is quite different from the beta version shown at Fall Comdex, with improvements in the user interface and some other added capabilities. As with HyperCard, software developers are already at work creating Agenda applications, much like Stackware. Meanwhile, despite all the talk of Quattro and other new generation spreadsheet programs, Lotus reported record sales for the second quarter of this year, with sales up 30% and net income up 6%. No word out of Lotus, though, on the status of release 3.0 of 123 or the Macintosh version of 123. Time for this week's software review. Here's Paul Schindler.
If your idea of a good time is timing cars down at the track, or for that matter, inspecting the expensive ones in the showroom, then there's a new piece of game software you should take a look at called Test Drive. After an amusing opening screen, Test Drive offers you a chance to experience the handling of 5 of the world's hottest cars, each of which it shows you in profile. They are the Porsche 911 Turbo, the Lamborghini, the Corvette, the Lotus Turbo Esprit, and the Ferrari. Once you get into the game, you'll see its obvious similarity to the famous best-selling Flight Simulator. We're looking out the windshield and at the dashboard of a hot car. You control the accelerator, you shift the gears, you see the cars going past you in your rearview mirror, and if you can't keep the thing on the road, you end up with a cracked windshield. Although you can play it with the keyboard, it works better with the joystick. Test Drive is for the race car driver in all of us. It comes from Accolade in Cupertino, California, and it's $40 on the PC, $44 on the ST, and $30 on the Commodore. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler.
Wells American, a maker of PC compatibles, has announced its new CompuStar line of PCs, which are described as convertibles because you can switch from a PC AT bus to a microchannel bus. The dual bus machine can also be set up to run any of 4 CPUs, from an 8086 to an 8386 SX. Bright Ideas of Portland, Maine has come up with an innovative piece of stackware called HyperChef. If you tell the program what food you have in the kitchen, it will check its files and then tell you what you can cook for dinner. Or you can tell it what you want to cook, and it will automatically generate a grocery shopping list. Finally, remember those wristwatches that wound themselves up automatically by capturing the energy of a swinging pendulum that was tied to the movements of the wrist? Well, Seiko has come up with a new idea based on that old idea. Seiko will soon be introducing a wristwatch that has the world's smallest electrical generator in it. Every movement of the wrist causes a delicately counterbalanced rotor to spin and produce electricity. The watch is due out this fall at a price of $200, and if you happen to see some guy swinging his laptop one of these days, maybe he's got a Seiko generator in it. That's it for this week's Chronicles. We'll see you next time.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by CompuServe, featuring an online reference library, Wall Street reports, at-home shopping, airline reservations, games, and hundreds of other services. CompuServe, helping people get the most from computers. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.
For a transcript of this week's Computer Chronicles, send $3 to PTV Publications, Post Office Box 701, Kent, Ohio 44240. Please indicate program date.